The basics of building. Art lesson with Ms. Boley.
Hi students, it's Ms. Boley here. Wow, last time I came outside to film a video, it was fall and the leaves were all changing color. It looks a lot different right now, especially the tree.
No more leaves. I guess it's officially winter. To commemorate the end of fall, we're going to be creating our own 3D sculptures of a fall tree. So here's what you'll need. We're doing kind of our own thing, so the materials depend on how you decide to build your sculpture. But some of the things that you might want to go get are cardboard and other recycled materials for building, glue and tape, paint, markers, pencil crayons, your beautiful stuff collection, and also your fall tree observation drawing that you did in your sit spot observations. So why are we doing this? Well, we're learning how to build and make art in 3 dimensions. We also want to learn how to experiment with different materials. We want to be able to communicate our knowledge and understanding about the seasons through making art, and also observe and represent what we see when we're out in nature doing those sit spot observations. All right, so first I'm going to start with some general tips for building a sculpture. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to show you some ideas that you can use when you build your own tree sculpture. So tip number 1 is to have a dedicated space for working on your sculpture. So set up an area where you don't have to clean up and you can leave your stuff out for a day or maybe even 2 days while you work on your sculpture. The second tip is to experiment with materials. So I have grabbed a ton of different materials. You will see all of the materials that I collected in just 1 second. So I have grabbed some craft paper. That's what that bag with those paper strips are. I got some cardboard, I got some tissue paper, I got my glue gun, and I can use just regular white glue or tape to stick things together. I grabbed some paper tubes, some cups and things for my recycling. I got these feathers for my beautiful stuff collection, egg carton, coffee filter, popsicle sticks. I also grabbed some more craft paper, and something that I found super helpful is a paper bag. So I'm going to show a method for creating a tree using a paper bag. You might want to try it out. All right, tip number 3 is to create a sketch of what you want to build. So I know that you all have done your sit spot observations of your tree, but this sketch is just a quick sketch showing what I want to build. So let's say I'm going to build a cardboard cutout of a tree, just like this. And then I'm going to have this little piece of cardboard sticking out, helping my trees stand up. So I want to draw it from both sides, from the front and the side, so that I can get my head around what I want to build. All right, tip number 4 is to build an armature. Wait a second. Are you wondering what an armature is? So an armature is kind of like a skeleton, but for your sculpture. So the armature is like the bones of the sculpture that helps it to stand up, and it helps it to support all of the other things that are added onto the sculpture. So it's kind of like what's underneath, what's the basic structure underneath the sculpture. So what I'm going to use for my armature in this example is I'm going to use a popsicle stick. So I want to think about first, what can I use for my base? Everything needs to have a base if it's going to stand up. So I've used an egg carton for my base, and I've just poked my popsicle stick into the egg carton. And to make it a little bit stronger and more secure, I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue. And then I'm going to grab some smaller popsicle sticks and cut them. You might want to get your learning coach to help you out if you need to cut popsicle sticks or cardboard or anything else that's difficult to cut. Also, obviously, using a hot glue gun will need to be supported by your learning coach as well. You shouldn't do that on your own. And if you don't feel comfortable with the hot glue, just use regular white glue. All right, so there's my first example of an armature created out of popsicle sticks with a base of an egg carton. All right, so an armature doesn't need to be made out of popsicle sticks. We can make it out of even a paper bag. So here what I've done is I'm opening up my paper bag and I've dropped a piece of cardboard that's perfectly cut to match the size of the bottom of the paper bag. You might need your learning coaches to just help you a little bit with that. And then you're gonna cut down the paper bag in straight lines, as straight as we can get them. Well, it doesn't really matter how straight they are, but we're gonna just cut down some strips through our paper bag. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm opening up the bottom of my paper bag and I'm just grabbing all of those strips and I'm twisting them up. And because I put that piece of cardboard in the bottom, that piece of cardboard is becoming my base. So I'm holding the base with my one hand and I'm twisting with my other hand. And you wouldn't think that this would work. You wouldn't think that it would turn into a structure that could stand up. But because of the way that we twist it, there we go. Now it's like a base with a tree trunk popping out. There we go. All right, now I need to add the branches to my armature. So I have the trunk, I just need to add the branches. So what I'm doing is I've grabbed some more of that type of brown paper bag craft paper stuff, and I have twisted up a long piece so that it kind of looks like a branch. And I'm just gonna twist it into this trunk that I've built. And you'll see I have my masking tape out. I am masking taping them as I go. Some of them I'm just twisting and some of them I am taping. And later on I actually did do a little bit of hot gluing of my twisted trunk just to make sure that it stayed twisted up. But this is like a very quick and easy way to get a pretty good armature started, and it's quite strong and it does stand up straight. So try that out if you have a paper bag at home. Okay, let me give you a look at what it looks like from the side instead of from the top. There you go. All right, another option for creating an armature is cardboard. I love building things out of cardboard. I feel like cardboard is such a wonderful building material. So what I'm doing here is I'm drawing a tree shape that I will then cut out with scissors. And remember, I'm trying to sort of be true to the drawing that I did for my sit spot observations. So I'm trying to do some details, right? Some little branches sticking out. And again, if I do need to cut something out of cardboard, I will ask my learning coach for support because it can be very difficult to cut cardboard. All right, I'm all done that. The problem is though that now if I put this thing and I try to stand it up, whoops, it's not going to work. So I need to create the base. I need to create something that's going to allow that cutout to stand up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just trace kind of the size and shape of the trunk area, and I'm just going to create like kind of like a triangle that I'm going to use to help my tree stand up. My triangle, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little cut straight up the middle of my tree trunk, and I'm going to see, oh, does my cardboard stand help it, or is it tall enough? I'm going to cut until it fits, and then I'm going to put it on a right angle, so kind of making like an X shape with my cardboard cutout. And now my tree stands up. So on this area there, I could choose to put some glue just to keep it a bit more sturdy, but that's totally up to you. There we go. Okay, let me show you. There you go. That's what it looks like from the side. That was a lot of armatures that we made. Let's have a look at all of them. Just to clarify, I just wanted to show a variety of different ideas. You only need to create one armature for your one tree sculpture. Whether you use cardboard or popsicle sticks or craft paper or from a paper bag, cardboard. Did I say cardboard already? I think I did. These paper tubes, or really whatever other materials that you decide. Maybe you decide to use twigs or sticks. I hope that you have some ideas for how to create that structure, that skeleton structure for your armature. All right, so our next tip is to fill in. We can wrap, or we can decorate, or we can add texture, details, and finishing touches to our armatures. So you might choose to use some acrylic paints, maybe to paint the armature to make it look more like what your drawing of your fall tree looked like. You may decide to use something like coffee filters and your watercolor paints to create leaves, or maybe you might want to use some tissue paper, or maybe you just want to use regular paper and draw and color some leaf shapes. I found these feathers in my Beautiful Stuff collection, and I thought that those might be useful in creating my leaves. So think about what kind of texture does your fall tree need to have, maybe in the bark or wherever else. And think about what you might use for materials to create your leaves and how you might make the colors really vibrant, just like we observed when we were sketching out our fall trees in the fall. Okay, final tip is to have fun. So sometimes it can get kind of stressful if you're trying to build something and it's not working out. If that happens, just take a step back and take a break and go back to it in a little while. All right, and that's it. Thanks for watching, and I cannot wait to see your tree sculptures.